Alyssa, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Obviously, I know you and your company, but please give the folks watching this video a little bit of background on yourself and M2 Logistics.
Yeah, well, thanks, Ben. I appreciate you having me here and excited to talk about Speed to Quote. My name's Alyssa Dax. I'm the Director of Market Intelligence at M2 Logistics. We're a third-party logistics organization based out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. We were founded in 2001. So I've been providing services to our customers for 25 years. We are primarily in surface modes, but also in international, parcel, anything that you could think of that you need to move, we can help you ship it. We also do managed transportation, and we're super proud of our technology stack and our ability to help customers in that way as well. So that's a little bit about M2. And obviously one of the technologies that we're leveraging is Speed to Quote.
Wonderful. Where's M2 Logistics located?
We are in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We do have two offices as well in Salt Lake City and then Denver. So we have a handful of people out west that kind of support our customer base in those markets. And it's helpful for hiring and having folks located in a lot of different places.
Got it. Well, being they're located in Green Bay, does that make you a Green Bay Packers fan then?
I'm actually not. I'm actually a Detroit Lions fan, which is I would say second worst case scenario. The only thing worse would be being a Bears fan. So I'm a Lions fan. We're having a run, so it's been exciting to be a fan for the past few years. But I put my time in. My whole life we've been terrible. So I'm glad to see us win.
Well, I'm very jealous. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Born and raised and live here in Cleveland. So, yeah, I actually Detroit is certainly my NFC team for sure.
Yeah, they're easy bandwagon to get on with Dan Campbell and everything going on. So we'll see how this season shapes up.
Absolutely. Well, listen, back to M2. Is there anything that you could share a bit more about the company? Is there anything unique about M2 or maybe the industries or services that you specialize in?
Yeah, for sure. So I think something unique about us is we're a smaller brokerage, but we can provide any really service that a customer would need. So we can really be a one-stop shop for a customer in whatever mode or support that they might need. I think that also is helpful for carriers because if they're coming and looking for brokerages to support their volume, we can bring them a lot of different alternatives and a lot of different customers and modes. So I think we really have a lot to offer on both sides of that equation. The other thing I would say is the folks that have been here for a while, including our owner, have really invested in technology, and that's only increased over the past couple of years. So we have a really, really great tech stack. It's really well integrated. We're leaning into everything that we can and that we need to. But the one thing that's been important to us and hasn't changed is we're a people-focused organization. So we have a tagline that you'll kind of hear people saying, which is people working with people. So we always want someone to be able to pick up the phone and help our carriers and customers. So that's really important to us. So even as we, continue to invest in technology and be as efficient as we can, it's important to us that we always have somebody for customers and carriers to engage with. So really a people-focused organization, and we hope that translates into, our customer service and our carrier experience.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic to hear. You hear so much about all these companies that try to be tech forward and lead with technology. And I get it. Like, hey,
Yeah.
we're a tech firm, but at the end of the day, it's still people that you're dealing with. And the more you can, have that human touch, that human interaction, I think is good for all sides working together.
Yeah, absolutely.
What challenges were you guys facing before you decided to move forward with our product, Speed to Quote?
Yeah, absolutely. So M2, actually at the time that I joined, which was around a year ago,
Mhm.
we're really looking to transform a lot of different parts of our organization, but one focus of that was our pricing capability. So obviously for a 3PL, having a pricing capability that, you can really lean on is critical, I think, to be, both having success and like being able to do things quickly, efficiently. Pricing sometimes becomes this speed game on how quickly you can turn things around. So, prior to that, we had a lot of decentralization and lack of standardization in our pricing process. So when I got here, you could, a lot of different methods being done. And I think a lot of that really is like, okay, there's no one tool or one, standard way to go about
Mhm.
processing a bid or, spot quotes or anything in between really. So, M2 decided like, hey, we have to get our arms around this because it's not working and, it's going to, cost us in the long run. So at that point they decided like, okay, if we're going to centralize this process, we're going to improve it. We also need to be able to leverage some sort of technology to help us with that. And we started down the path of, picking really like what RFP solution do we want to go with.
Was there something that made you decide to look at a platform like Speed to Quote? And why did you end up choosing us over other systems?
Yeah, so I think something that was critical is we really want to work with a provider in any space who's kind of an expert at that. So I think a lot of products come to the market and they say, oh, we can help you from order to cash. And it's like, okay, that's great, but like what is really your specialty and what can we get out of this product? So I think when, for example, if a TMS offers an RFP tool, it kind of tends to be their side hustle and not their primary thing. So it doesn't get built out in the way maybe that their primary product does. So
Mhm.
we were interested in working with an organization that, pricing and RFPs, bid management was the core of their product. So throughout that process, obviously Speed to Quote came up. A lot of different things I think led us to our decision, but one is obviously like technology.
Mhm.
You had a solid product, really impressed, during like the demo, discovery phase, all of that. I think the other part, and it kind of goes back to people working with people, is we just felt
Mhm.
that Speed to Quote was a like really open and wanting to know about like what was working and not working for our organization, where we needed the product to grow, to adapt and enable us to do more in that space. And so we felt like, okay, this is not only a product we can bring in and implement today, but we actually see them, working to build things out that will help us and work with us. And I'm sure as you've done with other organizations as well. But it's important that we weren't just getting like, okay, well, here's a product and we're never gonna do anything with it.
Mhm.
You guys have not only continued to enhance it, but also like asked us where, we would like to see the roadmap go. And,
Mhm.
really feel that a lot of that has been taken, both into consideration and we've seen it actually in the development of the product. So, there's a lot of factors, but we just felt like A, it's a good product, and B, we really trust the people in the organization behind it.
That's wonderful to hear. Yeah, one of the things that's always been very important to me is I want to build what the customer needs and wants. It doesn't matter if I think something is cool or something will work. All that matters is the customer that's paying for our service getting value out of it, and is it doing what it needs to do? Because you can come up with a million ideas on how to do something, but unless the customer is the one giving you that feedback and input, you're just throwing darts at a wall. So we do take that to heart. We have sit down meetings with all of our customers and try to understand, okay, what is it that you are trying to solve and how do you want to solve it? And
Yeah.
we put it into action.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We've definitely seen that.
Wonderful. What challenges were you facing before using Speed to Quote?
I see a handful of things, but we hard to really know the history of what we're bidding on. So that's like a big blind spot, I think, when you don't have a central repository really for your RFP
Mhm.
data, is you get all these million Excel files, and especially if you have multiple people working on them, it's like
Mhm.
who's what, where, and you need to go reference it. It's impossible to find, hard to quantify, like, okay, how much have we bid on? What are we bidding on? What rates
Mhm.
are we using? Etc. So really just like I think a blind spot to all of the RFP information, which when you're able to like harness that, especially as a 3PL, like that's really, really powerful data. So we did not have a central location for that. We did not have great visibility to it, which definitely was something like we knew we needed to solve, and Speed to Quote helped us close that gap. The other thing I think is, I know you guys have some cool features, including like the email plugin that's
Mhm.
very widely used in our organization, but visibility into spot quoting. So, we have automated spot quoting that we leverage with some other providers, but
Mhm.
of other spot quotes that come in on a day-to-day basis through email, through phone calls, etc. And we did not have a great consistent way to log those, know who's quoting it, who's quoting what customer, etc. So we're able to not only capture all that data, but it's right in our platform and then use it when we, need to go look something up. So I really think having a spot for all of that data, not only being able to see it and use it in the platform, but also be able to get it out of there and use it in our reporting has been really,
Mhm.
really key. So yeah, everything we have now goes through there, and it's become a really powerful data source for us.
Wonderful, wonderful. And maybe, Alyssa, if you don't mind, could you walk us through how your team is using Speed to Quote today? Maybe walk us through what a day in the life of one of your operations folks are using our tool.
Yeah, so we actually use it in a few different ways. So I'll kind of like run through a couple of those if that's okay. So on our operations floor, especially folks that are engaging with customers and carriers, we're leveraging the email plugin the most often on their desks. So when a customer sends an email quote or a calls and has a load that we're going to quote, they, pop open the email plugin, enter the information, or it automatically loads if it's from the
Mhm.
email, and then they leverage the market data that comes in, and then also our carrier data, which is in there, and they're able to execute the quote, save it, and then responding is really easy. You reply and it
Mhm.
automatically pastes in the email, so it's really 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 efficient for quoting. The other thing too is rate collector. If we're talking to carriers and we can understand like, hey, I have trucks in this market, etc.,
Mhm.
here's my rate, they're able to enter that in, and then immediately you can use that on the quoting side. So it really helps, I think, bringing together the carrier and the customer side because it all meshes together in the data source,
Mhm.
and then we can leverage it. So I would say that's how we're using it operationally. For more strategic activities like RFPs, on both the carrier and customer side, we're using it. So my team obviously does pricing. I'm in it every single day, whether I'm uploading a bid, updating a bid, exporting it, etc. It's been a great tool to use. Also, it's not hard to use. It's been
Mhm.
pretty self-explanatory. I have a new member on my team, and you don't have to sit there and like walk through it. You can pretty much figure it out, and I really appreciate that about the user interface. So using it obviously for RFPs has been super helpful, and then we also use it on our carrier side when collecting rates or
Mhm.
doing RFPs. So I know some of that is still also like being built out and improved even from where it's at, but being able to collect carrier responses, have them organized, be able to leverage that data in bids in the spot quote tool has been really, really great. So, we're using it all over the place, and
Mhm.
it's really just been a great tool across our organization.
That's wonderful to hear. It sounds like you're really leveraging the platform. So maybe this next question might be a little bit tough to answer, but is there a specific feature or report that you've actually found maybe the most valuable for yourself or maybe for your team?
Yeah, that's honestly a good question. That is kind of a tough question. I would say probably so for day-to-day functionality, it's definitely the email slash spot quote plugin. Being able
Mhm.
to use that I would say gets the most traffic by far. The other part though, on the flip side, like for myself and especially for leadership, is some of the pre-built reporting that you all have in there, especially around RFP like win rates and award to book.
Mhm.
That kind of reporting is hard to build when you don't have your data organized, and then even once you do, it's hard, but the fact that I can, pop open one screen, pick the
Mhm.
time frame or customers, whatever it might be, and say like, okay, how much have we bid on during this time frame? How much have we won? What does that mean? All the above. Like I would say I go to that report pretty frequently because we are processing a lot of RFPs just to see,
Mhm.
hey, are the, decisions we're making working? Are we seeing the results? And having that right there available has, I think, just saved so much time and really helped us like understand if what we're doing is working or not.
That's great to hear. Yeah, we get a lot of compliments on our award to book reporting. We had a customer that they actually moved more than what was awarded to them. And they
Oh,
started to realize, oh, geez, okay, maybe our pricing is maybe a bit too low. we might want to rediscuss this with the customer. And in other cases, they weren't getting nearly the awarded numbers that they were expecting. So it gave the sales team an opportunity to touch base with the customer.
Yep.
So I don't know if you guys have had any of those experiences with the reporting, but definitely been a big one for a lot of our customers.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've kind of seen both sides of the market since we've had speed to code implemented, and it's like in the first one, it's hey, we got to go try to claw back all of that volume that we're not seeing, and then now it's like, hey, what are we taking that we need to be looking at a new rate on? So
Mhm.
helpful honestly on both sides of that
Mhm.
equation, but yeah, we've definitely had some aha moments when looking through that data.
Wonderful. You started to kind of touch on it a little bit, but could you share maybe some of the results that you've seen since implementing speed to quote, like
Yeah.
faster turnarounds, improved win rates, or just anything that really comes to mind?
Yeah, so I think one for sure that stands out is like faster turnaround. So using the tool to like upload a customer bid, process it, get it back, because it does such a good job with like the formatting and really ease of use. You can apply a strategy very quickly,
Mhm.
all of that. You can turn around a bid very quickly, or at least get all of the data in there to have to meet with whoever you need to meet with to go review your data like that. I think our intake on a bid prior to speed to quote was probably a couple of hours of like normalizing the customer's data, pulling
Mhm.
market data, pulling history, all of that. I mean, you can do that in 5 minutes. So just even that initial data entry and cleansing portion, huge time savings there. And then, being able to consistently price stuff, I think has been great. So I think faster turnaround, again, consistent pricing strategy and results. We can easily see like, okay, what was I doing on this bid? Did I win? Did I not? How should I adapt that for this next bid? Or you can see like on that same customer historically, like how you've performed. So if you have quarterly bids or biannually, you can see like what did we do
Mhm.
last time? How should I change it? So I think being able to adapt our pricing strategy from bid to bid, customer to customer has been something that we probably could not do as well prior to the implementation of speed to quote. And then overall, I think the visibility has just been the biggest thing for us. It's shocking actually to see how much RFP volume you process. And so like seeing that top line
Mhm.
number and being like, okay, like this is our opportunity pool. So what does that mean for our forecasting and what we should be planning on um,
Mhm.
building out, part of our organizational budget. So we've really valued that and I've been able to leverage the data in there, but having visibility to that and having it all in one place and normalized is just like that's been great.
It sounded like you were almost teetering on this, but Alyssa, has there been like any surprises or like aha moments that were revealed to you from using speed to quote about your business?
I think the thing that stunned everybody was how much volume in we bid on, or like, the RFP value, total RFP value, because it calculates that
Mhm.
when you upload them. I think seeing that number is shocking because you see, bids come through and it's like, oh, maybe there's
Mhm.
a few million here, et cetera. And then you have larger customers and you put all that in one thing and it's like in one quarter. I think we were stunned by how much opportunity we had. And it's really
Mhm.
like, okay, we see a ton of bid volume. Like, what are we doing to make sure we're capturing that opportunity? So I think that has been great. And then two, on the carrier side, like even having access to, hey, this carrier quoted on these four bids, these were their rates, and being able to leverage that, whether it's on a strategic opportunity, a spot bid, or in a long-term RFP, having that visibility, knowing what the carrier did, what their rate was, has been really helpful. And I don't think we had that at least at our fingertips as easily before. So I think just being like, okay, it's easier to see the picture of like the carrier's network and how we can work
Mhm.
with them. So I think that's been another sort of thing we didn't expect that we've benefited from.
Yeah, it really gets me excited because I hear a lot of people say, I hate RFPs. They're a waste of time, money, this, that, the other. But I don't know if people really understand the value in the data of the RFPs information that your potential customer or customer is giving you.
Yeah.
Like even in the lanes that you don't win. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? The lanes that you don't win has tremendous value. It
Yeah.
can be leveraged a lot of ways. Maybe it's, hey, these are lanes that maybe we should start to form better relationship with carriers so we can better bid on them, or just using it as another touch point to go back to the customer to discuss. I mean, there's so much value in
Yeah.
what they're providing you. It's amazing. It's unlike really any other industry where your customers are actually giving you a behind the scenes look of what their business actually needs. So yeah,
Mhm.
I think being able to leverage that in a way is super valuable.
I think logistics is uniquely dynamic in that way
Mhm.
where something is always moving and changing. So to your point, if you even if you don't win it, which like happens on every RP, you're not going to win everything you bid on. Like
Mhm.
unfortunately, people that price know that all too well. It's really helpful because okay, you get, for example, if a carrier stops by and you have a meeting with them and they're like, hey, these are the markets we're, looking for freight out of or have trucks in, you can go to speed to quote and, type in like at the origin state, the origin point, a lane, whatever, and say, wow, we've actually seen that in 5 customers bids. And we might not have that freight, but that's certainly a talking point now for us and our customer, and like
Mhm.
how we can help both the carrier and the customer win in that. So that's what we're doing, right? We're matching freight. So I think having that, and then vice versa for the carriers when a customer comes in, being able to say like, yeah, we actually have capacity on these lanes or these
Mhm.
markets. I think bringing that together, but being able to constantly overlay those data sets because it's never perfectly timed up, but just having that knowledge and having that data, I think is really, really critical.
Absolutely. This dovetails nicely into really my next question, and you don't have to name names or anything, but could you maybe share a specific example or maybe a decision that you made differently because of our product?
Yeah, so I would say on some of the bids that we've been participating in, I think it's easy as a 3PL to want to like quote everything. And sometimes it's easiest because it's like, well, I'm pulling market data, I'm pulling
Mm.
historical, let me just quote. And I think with speed to quote, we've been able to use, for example, like some of the power lane and the matrix features to say, hey, where is our network like strongest? Where are we trying to build it out? And how can we price that most effectively to support that? So I think we've changed some of our bidding strategies because of that data and saying like, hey, there's actually no point in like, sure, you can put a rate on anything, but like we don't actually, need, want, or like really our leverage that moving that specific freight. Let's go over here and target this. I also think when you do that, and when we do that, we've actually seen just like better results. So I think being able to leverage some of those features quickly because draws your eye quickly to it. You can filter on it, whatever you want to do. Um, but it's easy to see like this is where we're good, this is where we should be going after, and kind of filter out the noise in the RFP because as you know, there can be thousands and thousands of lanes and quickly getting down to like this is what we want to bid on and spend our time pricing is saves a lot of time, I think helps improve the outcome too.
Got it. Got it. So, Alyssa, what's been your experience working with us at S2Q Systems?
Honestly, it's been great. I only have good things to say. I'm sure people get sick and tired of me praising Speed to Quote internally, but you guys have been honestly just awesome. The response time is crazy. Like if I do have an issue every once in a while, there'll be, a bug, something not working. Oftentimes it's user error. I send you guys a note and you turn it around right away. Obviously kindly when it's on my end and you're like, no, you just have to change this. But so the response time is amazing. And then I think, we touched on it earlier, but like the roadmap for development, I feel like so many of our ideas and pain points have been not only like added to your roadmap, but actually developed, released, and now we're
Mhm.
using them. So we've really had like, we really feel like we've got to help shape the future of this product. And I think to your point earlier, like you want to know what your customers want. You guys
Mhm.
really mean that because that's what you end up building. And sometimes we'll have a one-off idea and you're like, we're the only ones that have said that. Doesn't mean it's a bad idea, but like probably not number one priority. But then there's other things where it's like, hey, this is coming up with every customer, we're building it. And I think taking that feedback, making it into your product, it's like, we're already having a good experience. I think that's gonna both improve our experience, hopefully our obviously our results of using this tool, but like I see Speed to Quote being a long-term partner in our tech stack, in our solution. And as you guys continue to evolve the product, I think, that'll just continue to prove itself.
That's wonderful. Yeah, we really appreciate that, and it's something that we work very hard on is that customer service and
Yeah.
experience. Because at the end of the day, without customers, you really have nothing. So it sounds like we're doing all the right stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. You guys have great response time, always, willing to help. And then, I really appreciate our feedback being heard and being developed against.
Wonderful, wonderful. So maybe Alyssa, to close maybe out with just a few more questions from your perspective. What are some of the biggest challenges in transportation and logistics, right now? It doesn't have to be about pricing, just anything that you feel is super important that you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk all day on this topic right now. This industry continues to like evolve so quickly. I think some of the challenges that we have ahead of us outside of currently the market landscape, which I'll touch on in a second, is there's a lot of regulation and laws, court cases, things being put into place that are, both creating headwinds and tailwinds. I think
Mhm.
regardless of what it creates, that's something that you have to address as an organization. Whether you're a carrier, a 3PL, or a shipper, you have to do something with that every time it happens. I think the most recent lawsuit with brokers now being having liability in some of these cases has brought some new challenges to the table. I
Mhm.
think, we're definitely well equipped. I think a lot of people are too, because fraud,
Mhm.
safety, et cetera, is at the top of everybody's mind. Now it's just like, okay, one more reason to make sure your process is airtight. I think it's creating a lot of work. And if, your organization wasn't ready for that, I do
Mhm.
see it as a challenge, but definitely something that will figure out and navigate as an industry. But, on the bright side, the market has turned. However, like not without its challenges. We're seeing a lot of supply side changes. And as a result of that, rates and volatility in the market has been, I mean, we've hit record highs for spot
Mhm.
rates. Volatility's been insane. It's like month to month right now. It's been great though, because Speed to Quote, like we've been doing a lot of pricing and repricing and repricing. And it's just like every time, you hit a new high, you gotta do something. So being able to price those and reprice those quickly has been really critical for us. It
Mhm.
takes a ton of time updating it, but the first half of this year has been a wild ride, but it's been exciting because I think, as carriers, like really they needed this market to turn around. It was not sustainable, and they're, the core of this industry. So it's good to see that, but not without its challenges for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, we certainly hear that from other folks, and it's definitely an interesting time to be in this industry. And at the end of the day, it's just another thing that everyone has to overcome and deal with. And I'm sure, this time next year will be some other type of
Oh,
issue. So,
the only constant is change, it feels like. So your ability to adapt to it, I think, is like the testament of your organization being successful or not. And it's
yeah.
like, how quickly can you adapt to it and, make it work for you?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's say if another brokerage or 3PL was out there looking to evaluate us, what would you tell them?
I would say I think Speed to Quote is a great product. You can capture so much knowledge, so much data, leverage that to help, build out your organizational strategy and really give, both your customers and carriers a better experience. I recommend this product completely. There's actually like no reason I wouldn't recommend it. You obviously like there's still work to be done. Like you still have to upload your RFPs, you still have to set your strategies, manage all of that. So it's not going to ultimately give you like, hey, this is the silver bullet, but it's going to take so much time out of that, make it really so much more efficient, be able to, scale across your organization, get, collective strategy set for the floor for how you price. So I think there's just a ton of value in this product. And then also, as I've said, like the Speed to team, excellent to work with. And, if there's something that you really need in a product that you can't find either with them or anywhere else, I think they're probably your best bet on bringing it up, figuring out how it adds value, and then getting something developed. So I would recommend you guys.
Wonderful. So in other words, it's M2 and Alyssa approved.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, for if there are any shippers or manufacturers or distributors or anybody evaluating uh, transportation companies, Alyssa, how can they get a hold of M2 or yourself or your sales team?
Yeah, so you can contact us through our website. We have a little chat feature on there, M2 Logistics. Otherwise, I can leave my information, but it's a dax at m2logistics.com. Again, we're in Green Bay, Wisconsin, so feel free to reach out. We're always excited to talk to new folks. And yeah, I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for your time, Alyssa.
Thanks, Ben.